Salutations, pups! Welcome to Chapter 11 of the one they call Broccoli by Texiliaz. As always, a link to the fic will be in the description below. And with that out of the way, let's jump on into it. Chapter 11. Let's burn Aldera to the ground. There's no summary for this chapter. Author's notes. Surprise! I did tell you this chapter was almost finished, didn't I? Well, I was planning on waiting another day before I posted, but I got excited and wanted to share this as soon as possible. It's a bit shorter than the last chapter, but I hope you'll enjoy it, this special partly Bakugo point of view chapter. Trigger warning: bullying, swearing, PTSD, violence, Bakugo. Katsuki's point of view. The UA results came in yesterday. And, surprising to no one, Katsuki had gotten first place on the entrance exam. The rumors had already spread among all the extras in the school, surely because of his loud mouth of a hag who, no doubt, told everyone she came across. Not that Katsuki was complaining, soaking in all the praise. Though it was a bit annoying how repetitive it got. Yeah, he was the best. What else was new? Just stop standing in his way and let him get to class, damn it. Before homeroom even started, the speakers around the school buzzed to life. Could Bakugo Katsuki please come to the principal's office? We'd like to congratulate you for getting accepted into UA High's hero course. A few cheers followed that announcement, and Katsuki raised his head, grinning widely. He had just started to stand up when the speaker sparked to life again. Oh, we seem to have another student who also got in. Midoriya Izuku, come to the principal's office. There was a loud click as the speaker turned off and everyone's eyes, including Katsuki's, turned to the nerd. Deku shrunk into himself, shaking pathetically, before he shook his head and literally stormed out of the classroom. All Katsuki could do was stare after him as he ran. Around him, the extras started whispering among themselves. Deku got into UA? No way! He must have cheated. You think the principal is going to expel him? Definitely, and he'd deserve it. Cheating to get into UA? How low can you sink? Katsuki grit his teeth and stormed off. How dare Deku steal Katsuki's moment like that? Izuku's point of view. What the hell is wrong with this place? Izuku tried to tune out the Vestige's angry rant while he made his way to the principal's office, having to take the long way around because he kept noticing staff members or students down the hall. That's just how it is, Izuku mumbled, ducking around another corner when he noticed a teacher walking his way. After that announcement, he did not trust anyone not to hurt him, and he didn't want to take any risks. This is how people always treat Quirkless. Most probably assume I cheated by now, and will try to bite my head off if they get the chance. But you didn't cheat! Doesn't matter. I'm Quirkless. I couldn't possibly get into UA on my own, Izuku muttered, moving faster when the coast was once again clear. But you're not Quirkless? You have a quirk. Izuku sighed. Look, it's complicated. I got my quirk when I was 12. By then, in the eyes of everyone here, I was already and would always be quirkless. And in no way was I gonna change into a cat here just to prove them wrong. Not after some of them almost killed me the first time I transformed in front of them. The Vestiges flinched at that last statement, but didn't say anything else. Though Izuku could feel them moving around, probably arguing and holding one of their many secret meetings in that void they often mentioned. Izuku finally reached the principal's office, and, unsurprisingly, Kachan was already there. Of course Kachan would arrive first. After all, he could just waltz right over to the office without having to go the extra mile of avoiding everyone and fearing for his life. What took you so long, Deku? Kachan snapped, stomping his feet impatiently. Izuku swallowed and avoided the other boy's eyes. Sorry I'm late, Izuku mumbled, keeping his head low as he shuffled over to the principal's desk. Inside of his mind, the Vestiges were seething. What kind of principal overlooks that blonde kid's behavior? He basically called you useless right in front of him. So, now that Deku is finally here, we can begin, the principal said. He calls you Deku too? That's it! I'ma burn this place to the ground! Izuku, I demand some torches and pitchforks. We're going on a hunt! Izuku winced at the loud volume of the Vestige's angry outburst and tried to concentrate on what the principal was saying. Most of it seemed to be about how proud Aldera was for a student to get into UA. It didn't take a genius to notice how the principal was only talking about Kachan. Now then, Bakugo-kun, you may return to class. Again, wonderful job getting into UA. You are the pride of the school. Oh, and Deku? A word. Kachan glared at him before stomping off, leaving Izuku alone with the principal. Okay, Deku, here's what's gonna happen, the man said, folding his hands on his desk. You are gonna contact UA and tell them that you decline your spot. Under no circumstances can I let you ruin our school's reputation by cheating to get into a high-prestige school. Izuku blanched. What? But, sir, I didn't... Enough of the lies, Deku, the man said sternly, glaring at him over his glasses. You are stealing a hero spot from actually worthy students. Stop being so selfish. Izuku felt a lump form in his throat, and his eyes teared up. He begged himself not to cry. Not in front of the principal. Wait a minute. The principal? An idea formed in Izuku's mind, and his lips turned up into a smile, which he quickly hid by ducking his head. I understand, sir. May I call them right now? Izuku asked softly, trying his best to stifle his laughter by making it sound like he was close to tears. That would be great, the principal nodded. I'm glad you are at least able to see reason, he said, leaning back in his seat and looking pleased with himself. The Vestiges seemed to sense where this was going and started snickering, cheering him on. Biting his lip, Izuku brought out his phone and scrolled through his few contacts. The number one hero, a UA hero course teacher, and of course, the principal of UA. All great candidates. Deciding to bring out the big guns, Izuku chose the last one and started a video call. He waited 2 beats, his heart racing, before Nezu picked up. Hello, Midoriya! What a pleasant surprise! But aren't you supposed to be in school right now? The mammal said kindly, sitting by his desk and working on something. From the window behind the small principal's desk, you had a clear view over UA. Perfect. Hello, Nezu-sensei, Midoriya said cheerfully, making sure to angle his phone so his middle school principal could see the rodent. And as soon as the man recognized the well-known and feared hero, he paled. You see, Nezu-sensei, I was supposed to be in class, but then I was called to the principal's office, Izuku innocently explained. Oh, did he want to congratulate you for getting into UA? Nezu asked, picking up the cup of tea next to him and taking a slow sip. Not really, Izuku said carefully, giving a pause and making the man beside him sweat. He did congratulate another student who also got in, though. Another pause. But he actually told me to call UA and decline my spot in the hero course. Isn't that right, Principal Sir? Izuku said sweetly, turning the camera so Nezu could see the now terrified man. Is that so? Nezu said calmly, placing the cup back on the table with a clink and folding his paws in front of them. And why, if I may ask, do you want the second top student to decline their offer to my pristine establishment? He asked. If I may be frank with you, Nezu, sir, there is no way that Midoriya could have gotten into UA. I am very sorry to inform you that he must have cheated. I deeply apologize, and I promise that he will face immediate expulsion as a suitable punishment. I'll have to cut you off right there, Nezu said, raising a paw. To others, he looked calm. But Izuku had known him long enough to recognize the feral rage burning behind those dark eyes. Midoriya did not cheat. Why would he need to do that? He is a remarkable young man with an IQ level on par with a genius, after all. I would know, since I have been keeping him as my personal student for months. Of course, his remarkable level of intelligence is something you would already be aware of, if your school clearly didn't change his scores on all the tests. And yes, I have gone over the results, as I do with all of my upcoming students. And quite frankly, sir, I find your staff's excuse of marking all of his tests with probably cheated just to be able to give him a much lower grade despicable. The man grew, if possible, even more pale and swallowed nervously. Inside Izuku's head, the vestiges were having the time of their non-life, and Izuku would be lying if he said he wasn't enjoying this himself. He had to bite his lip to stop himself from smiling. But even so, you have to be aware of his quirkless status, the man stuttered. You can't possibly want him in your school. He'll only bring the other students down with him. Are you saying that being a quirkless person is somehow a problem? Nezu asked calmly. The man seemed to realize this wasn't working, and he backtracked. Of course not. I am merely worried about the other students' well-being. Thank you for your concern, Nezu cut him off, raising a paw. But may I ask you which of one of us is classed as the most intelligent creature alive? And which one is a middle school principal who, may I add, is showing clear favoritism and quirkist behavior? That is not. You will not expel Midoriya, Nezu said, his voice leaving no room for arguments. In fact, if you punish him in any way, I will know, and I will do much more than simply bring an end to your school, as well as your whole career as an educator. Are we clear? The man swallowed. Yes, sir. Good. Glad we could come to an understanding, Nezu answered pleasantly. Oh, and Midoriya? The man will then chirped cheerfully. Izuku jumped and turned the screen so it was once again facing him. Yes, Nezu-sensei? Nezu smiled at him, one of those rare, genuine smiles. Congratulations on getting in, and thank you for calling me. Oh, thank you, Nezu-sensei, he said, feeling himself smile at the kindness of his uncle/teacher. And with that, they ended the call. His soon-to-be ex-principal looked utterly defeated, staring down at his desk with haunted eyes. Izuku swallowed nervously and pocketed his phone. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go back to class, he said politely with a bow, just like how Nezu had taught him. The man didn't even react, and Izuku quickly made his way back to the classroom. The rest of the school day continued much like a normal day would, only slightly worse. After all, most of the students and other staff were still very upset that he had cheated his way into UA. Katsuki's point of view. This is getting fucking ridiculous. The whole fucking day, people had been throwing more insults at Deku than they had been throwing praise at Katsuki. And it was honestly pissing him off. Who the fuck cared if Deku managed to get into UA? They would kick him out as soon as I realized how useless he was anyway. As soon as school ended, he stomped his way outside, his bag hanging from one shoulder and heading straight home. He was sick and tired of all these goddamn stupid extras. But then, when he walked down the steps by the entrance, he heard, again, someone throwing insults at that useless Deku. Katsuki growled, and before he knew what he was doing, he changed direction and stomped his way over. Around the corner, at the shadowy part of the school ground where he used to drag Deku to beat him up, stood Deku and 4 other extras. The nerd was backed into a corner, a clear bruise on the side of his cast-down face. You really think you're special, huh? How low can you sink? Cheating to get into UA? We should report you and let them know just what kind of weak liar you are. The extra closest to Deku then grabbed the front of his uniform and slammed him back against the wall with a loud slam. The brick wall. At that moment, an image, one Katsuki always tries so hard to repress, flashed before his eyes. A small cat, one of the extras kicking it against the brick wall, the awful cracking noise it made on impact. Then it just laid there, not moving, not breathing. They killed it! They killed it! They killed Deku! Katsuki didn't even notice before moving before he was suddenly in front of Deku. In a flash, he grabbed the extra's arm with a snarl and twisted it, making him cry out in pain. Hey, what the hell, Bakugo? One of the others shouted. Katsuki let go of the disgusting extra, pushing him hard so he fell back against the others. Explosions went off in his hands, and he snarled at them. Why the fuck do you think that you useless extras reporting to UA would do jack shit? If you think UA would accept cheating, then you must be dumber than rocks. Oh, come on, he clearly... Katsuki cut the bastard off with another threatening explosion. I am not fucking happy about this useless nerd getting in either, he roared, making them all flinched back. But you know what? We have to fucking deal with it. And at least I got into UA. You're just a bunch of worthless extras going to some boring, lame-ass high school. So what the fuck kind of right do you have threatening this guy? The others stared at him like he had gone insane. You can't seriously be defending Deku, Katsuki growled again and led another explosion. Wanna see how fucking serious I am? Now scram before I fucking kill you! The extras quickly scrambled away without another word. Katsuki was breathing heavily, rage still running hot beneath his skin. He didn't even understand why he was this angry. All he knew was that he was so furious that it felt like he would fucking die. Fuck! He swore, letting out another explosion into the air. Kachan? Are you okay? The voice of Deku had Katsuki pause, and he whirled around to face the nerd. Deku was still leaning against the wall, the bruise on his face looking even worse up close. And he was looking at Katsuki like he had grown a second head. Are you okay, Kachan? Deku tried to ask again, but Katsuki cut him off with a snarl. I'm fine! Just fan-fucking-tastic! He said, letting out a small explosion in his hands. But then, that stupid image of that worthless, pathetic cat showed up again, and he closed his fists with another swear. Izuku's point of view. Izuku frowned at Kachan. That had been weird. In fact, Izuku couldn't remember Kachan protecting him like that since before they turned 4. His focus turned down to the blonde's shaking fists, where smoke fizzled out. For some reason, despite Kachan having let out multiple explosions, Izuku had barely flinched at the sound. In fact, unlike 10 minutes ago, Izuku felt completely safe right now. It suddenly clicked why that was, and his eyes widened in realization. For 3 years, Izuku was always afraid that Kachan would start hurting him again. But even now, even when the blonde's explosion went off so close to him earlier, danger sense never activated. In fact, as soon as Kachan showed up, danger sense had almost immediately quieted down. You won't hurt me, Izuku said faintly, staring at the blonde with wide eyes. He didn't realize he had said it out loud until Kachan let out an offended sound and stepped closer, probably to look threatening. The fuck did you just say? Kachan snarled. Izuku just kept staring at Kachan. And for the first time, Izuku really looked at him. The boy looked mad. Yes. In fact, he looked ready to murder him. But the new quirk in his mind told Izuku otherwise. Kachan had no intentions of hurting him. You won't hurt me, Izuku repeated, more confident now. You haven't hurt me in years. And you won't do it now, right? What the fuck? Why did you stop? Izuku asked, taking a step closer to Kachan, who took a step back. Kachan's eyes widened, and he started shaking. What? Why did you stop hurting me? I can understand why you started doing it. That makes sense, but why stop? What changed? Izuku pressed, his voice shaking just a little. He wanted to understand. Kachan stared at him like he had started speaking another language entirely, and took another step back. What the hell are you— Deku, what the fuck? He snapped. Izuku didn't say anything, and glanced down at the blonde's hands. And, sure enough, no explosions. We're both going to UA, Izuku said slowly, looking back up at the boy. I'm going to be a hero, just like you, he said, as calmly as he could, despite the nerves jittering in his body. That seemed to be Kachan's breaking point. Fuck no! You'll get thrown out the first week! Don't fucking lump us together, Deku! And with that, before Izuku could answer, Kachan turned around and stormed off. Wow, anger issues much? That's talking. That's taking it lightly. What's the deal with that Kachan, anyway? Izuku shook his head sadly as he watched his old childhood friend go. He then crouched to gather his things that were scattered across the ground and put them back in his worn-out yellow backpack. It's a long story, he said, moving to stand up and heading towards the park. Izuku, we're dead. We literally got all the time in the world. Izuku laughed quietly at that, and brought out his phone to press it to his ear. Okay, Izuku said, taking a deep breath. Well, it all started when we were 4. He then proceeded to tell the vestiges about his childhood. Izuku told them about Kachan, how they had been friends, until they weren't. He explained how he had grown up getting bullied for being quirkless by students and teachers alike. And then he told them of eventually gaining a quirk in the middle of a beating, which led to Shota saving him and bringing him home. The vestiges never once interrupted. Instead, they just listened politely and threw in a couple of questions here and there, or made small commentary when he grew silent. One of his favorite comments was how Kachan reminded them of Diagoro's old dog, an angry Pomeranian named Pom Pom. That comment made Izuku snort at the mental image of Kachan as a small and fluffy dog. Overall, it felt nice, having someone to talk to. The next morning, on his way to school, Izuku got a call from Nezu. Good morning, Nezu-sensei, he answered cheerfully, glad for the distraction. Why are you calling this early? Good morning, Midoriya. I was wondering if you could come and meet me at UA, Nezu answered, sounding suspiciously more cheerful than usual. Right now? I'd love to, but I have school, Izuku answered, slowing down his steps. Indeed you have, but not there, Nezu said, even more cheerfully. I figured since your old school is closing by the end of the semester, and you only have your final exams left, you might as well come over and do them here, with me. No need to waste weeks in that place. I bet we can even finish your exams in one afternoon. Izuku's head was spinning. Wait, Nezu, what did you do? He asked, stopping in his tracks. Nezu chuckled. Oh, nothing much. I just let the right people know about your school's activities. Now, can I expect to see you in my office by 8 a.m.? Yes. Of course. I'll be there, Izuku answered by pure instinct, mind still reeling. Wonderful! See you then, Midoriya! And with that, the mammal ended the call with a click. Izuku lowered his phone and just stared at it with wide eyes. What just happened? He whispered. Sure, he had expected Nezu to take down his middle school. After all, this was Nezu we were talking about. Of course he wouldn't leave his old school alone. But Izuku just hadn't expected it to happen this fast. The vestiges seemed just as confused as he was, but after the shock wore off, they started laughing and cheering. Nana appeared floating next to him, clutching her stomach and falling over in mid-air. Oh man, you gotta thank that rat for us, Nezu. He's a true hero. Izuku let out a nervous laugh and checked the news on his phone. There, he noticed how most of the recent local stations had articles in form of middle school closing next semester due to quirkish behavior, principal facing criminal charges. Yeah, he truly is, Izuku agreed, smile growing impossibly wider while he pocketed his phone and turned around, walking towards UA. Author's notes. Bakugo. I'm not scared of anything, but that thing, points to a calm Izuku, that shit scares me. I, again, wanted to make it clear that Bakugo never attacked Broccoli, because if he did, I wouldn't be able to ever make him redeemable. Our angry boy is suffering from some trauma, but he ain't even aware of it. Hopefully a certain dog can set him straight while at UA. Thank you, everyone, for all of your lovely comments and support. You are seriously the best, and I am so happy that so many people seem to enjoy this story. Next up, UA High! Like in my other stories, I won't cover scenes that play out the same as in canon, but if there are any major changes to a scene, like, for example, the quirk assessment test, I will add to it. But other than that, I'm going to try and keep rewritten canon scenes to a minimum and focus more on what's going on around those scenes. Anyway, thank you again. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, everyone. And that is it for chapter 11. And oh my gosh, this one felt like so long, but we haven't even reached half an hour yet. I'm sorry if I got too loud with Bakugo's part there. I think I might have. And also, I keep pausing because I have to keep swallowing, which is probably a bad thing. But please leave a comment if you like. It really makes me happy to see your comments. It makes me so happy. It makes me feel validated for doing this, honestly. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. Not hope. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye pups.